What was your most surprising therapy experience? I started therapy after my wife died. 3 years of marriage ended when a drunk driver hit her car head-on. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, couldn't function. My boss gave me 8 weeks leave, but by week 6, I still hadn't showered in days. My sister finally dragged me to her therapist, a doctor, Winters, who specialized in grief counseling. Dr. Winters' office was exactly what you'd expect. Beige walls, fake plants, diplomas, and those stupid little Zen sand gardens. She spoke in that careful, measured therapist voice. I stopped going after 3 sessions. 6 months later, I was still a mess. One night at 2 a.m., unable to sleep, I found myself in a 24-hour diner. The only other customer was this elderly man reading a worn paperback. When I knocked over my water glass, he helped me clean up, then simply asked, "Rough night?" Something about his kind eyes made me tell him everything. About Sarah, about the funeral where I couldn't speak, about how I still couldn't move her toothbrush from our bathroom sink. He listened without interrupting, then wrote something on a napkin. "I'm retired now, but I used to help people. Come by tomorrow if you want to talk more." I almost threw the napkin away, but the next evening, I found myself pressing his buzzer. Frank, that was his name, opened the door wearing faded jeans and a sweater with a coffee stain. His apartment was cluttered with books and photographs. No diplomas, no credentials. Just a regular living room with a comfortable couch. "I'm not a licensed therapist anymore," he admitted. "Gave up my practice 5 years ago, but I'm still a good listener, and I don't charge." For the next few months, I visited Frank twice a week. We didn't have sessions, we just talked. Sometimes in his apartment, sometimes walking through the park, once even while he taught me to change my car's oil. He never gave me worksheets or talked about stages of grief. Grief isn't something you get over, he told me once while we were fishing. It's something you learn to carry differently as you get stronger. Slowly, I started feeling human again. I joined a pickup basketball game. I finally packed up Sarah's clothes. I even laughed at a movie, then immediately felt guilty about it. "Sarah would be pissed if she knew you weren't laughing," Frank said. "The dead don't want our misery as tribute." One evening, I arrived to find Frank looking through old photo albums. He seemed melancholy, so I asked if everything was okay. "Anniversary," he said simply, pointing to a photo of a young woman with a brilliant smile. "My daughter would have been 43 today." I was stunned. "Your daughter died? Cancer, 20 years ago." He turned the page to show her in a hospital bed, still smiling despite being painfully thin. "She was 23, just finished college." "And you became a therapist after that?" I asked. Frank laughed, a genuine but sad sound. "No, I'd been a therapist for decades already, but after Maggie died, I couldn't do it anymore. Couldn't sit in that office listening to people complain about their mothers-in-law or their boss passing them over for promotion. I quit, drank too much, nearly ended things." "What changed?" I asked. "Time, and a homeless man named Joe who used to sleep in the park. He'd lost everything, family, home, dignity, but he'd sit there feeding squirrels, finding joy in something so simple." Frank looked at me intently. "I realized I could either die with Maggie or live carrying her with me, so I started living again, not as a formal therapist, but as someone who understands loss." That night, Frank showed me all of Maggie's photos. For the first time, I realized Frank hadn't been helping me despite not understanding my pain. He'd been helping me because he understood it completely. On the anniversary of Sarah's death, I expected to fall apart. Instead, I went to the beach she loved and told her all about my year, about Frank, about how I was learning to carry my grief differently. When I told Frank about this, he smiled and said, "That's how you know you're healing, when memories bring more comfort than pain."